Amongst the community of fans, one of the more relaxing, unifying topics in Star Wars is the conversation about the movie watch order for the 9-film Skywalker saga. There are two primary methods in watch order, but did you know that a third option could amplify your entire experience completely? After I roll the intro, let's get into it. Any way that you choose to watch these movies is completely valid, but I've got to share the order in which I think makes Star Wars more captivating. Now, spoilers ahead if you haven't watched Star Wars 1 through 9. The two most popular watch orders are chronological order and release order. My favorite order, although I did not create this, it combines the two. Now, it's very important to understand the story that Star Wars is trying to tell you. It's easy to infer that all of these stories are about one or two people's journeys, that there may be a main character, but I think it's more simple, yet complex than that. I'll explain at the end of my preferred watch order. First up, A New Hope. This is the very first film made in 1977, and what makes it so perfect is that it feels like we're already starting somewhere in the middle of this grand story. We meet our main characters and learn about this great evil empire. Luke and Leia take center stage, and we watch them display great character strengths. Leia is bold in the face of mortal danger. She displays great leadership. Luke's sense of adventure and curiosity makes him so relatable. A man named Obi-Wan Kenobi who takes Luke under his wing and teaches him about the Force, and also reveals that he was best friends with Luke's late father. This takes us to our villain, Darth Vader. He's cold, ruthless, and seemingly all-powerful. We learn from Kenobi that Vader killed Luke's father. The film ends on a high note with Luke tapping into the Force in order to destroy the Empire's superweapon, the Death Star. Second up, The Empire Strikes Back, 1980. This is my absolute favorite film of all time, out of everything. This story continues with our heroes boldly continuing the fight against the Empire. Our main character of this trilogy, Luke Skywalker, is deepening his training in the Force. We see him displaying great confidence at times, and some crippling insecurities at other times. Through failure, we begin to see shades of his arrogance, his inability to learn from his failures before reconfronting them. The film ends with a scattered rebel fleet reuniting after they've been driven from the Hoth system. But most importantly, we are hit with the greatest cinematic twist of all time. Darth Vader is Luke's father. With this revelation, I find it critical to the story moving forward to visit the prequels. To know where you're going, you must first see where you've been, right? We have to examine who Darth Vader is for a few reasons. We have to figure out if Vader is telling the truth. We have to know if this Anakin Skywalker, whom the Emperor and Darth Vader were discussing in Empire Strikes Back, is every bit the hero that Obi-Wan claimed him to be. And we have to make the conclusion for ourselves if there is any good left in him. So with that, the next film is The Phantom Menace, 1999. The Empire doesn't exist yet. Instead, we see a galactic republic with more than its fair share of problems. We meet a younger Obi-Wan Kenobi and his master, Qui-Gon Jinn, on a mission on behalf of the Republic. We learn of the vast amount of Jedi serving the Republic and that their influence inspires the galaxy. We meet a young brave queen named Padme Amidala. We learn that she's a bold, fearless leader, a lot like another character we've met already. The moment that changes everything is when Qui-Gon's encounter with a young boy takes a different turn. He ends up seeing so much Force potential in him. His name, Anakin Skywalker. He takes the boy with him to be trained as a Jedi, and this isn't well received by the Council. Turns out, age plays an important part in Jedi training. Jedi are taken to begin their training at a toddler age. A 10-year-old such as Anakin has already formed deep attachments to his mother. This foreshadows an inevitable wedge that will form between Anakin and his training. This should immediately bring you back to the previous film you watched, Empire Strikes Back, when Yoda tells Obi-Wan that Luke is too old to begin his training. Immediately, we are making parallels to Luke and Anakin, where we are practically unsure of whether or not Luke will fall to the dark side as well. Probably the biggest thing to point out is the introduction to this character, Darth Sidious. At this junction, you should be able to start connecting dots with his character. Why is this dark figure lurking in the shadows? He looks and sounds just like this emperor that Vader was talking to in Empire Strikes Back. He sounds a lot like this politician named Senator Palpatine as well. Next film, Attack of the Clones, 2002. In the story, this takes place 10 years later. Anakin is nearing the end of his time as a Padawan. He's grown very powerful and more confident. Very quickly, we see that Anakin's arrogance is several laps ahead of his thinking, and that an individual of his power possesses a dangerous level of responsibility. His defiance and anger reach their disturbing limits when he mass murders a tribe of Tusken Raiders. His connection with Padme reaches a fever pitch, and naturally, they fall in love. As nice as this may seem, the combination of forming this forbidden attachment and keeping it from the Jedi Order only severs his devotion to them. After all, the willingness to live in dishonesty reveals the level of mistrust Anakin has in the Jedi, even if he doesn't admit it yet. The dots I mentioned earlier involving Darth Sidious, Chancellor Palpatine, and the Emperor have become more fleshed out. Darth Sidious is behind the Separatist threat the whole time, and he orchestrates the Clone Wars. Meanwhile, Chancellor Palpatine is head of the Republic. You can definitely see where this is going. Next, Revenge of the Sith, 2005. The fall of the Republic reaches its climax. Our heroes are 3 years deep into this Clone War, and the end is in sight. Very early on, it's clearly pointed out that Palpatine is secretly Darth Sidious, and he has been the puppet master to both sides of this war, weakening the Republic from the inside out. He successfully lures Anakin to the dark side and executed his ultimate plan by declaring the Jedi Order enemies of the state and reorganizing the Republic into an empire. The catalyst to Anakin's fall is the fear of losing his now pregnant wife. Palpatine manipulates this fear and his desire for power into the ultimate weapon. Obi-Wan and Anakin square off in a masterful duel where Obi-Wan nearly kills him. Now we are able to see why the back of Vader's head looks so deformed in The Empire Strikes Back. The suit is not merely an aesthetic, it's life support. Padme dies, but not before the final revelation that she's giving birth to twins happen. Watching in this order, by the way, makes this news seem absolutely huge. It is a mega twist if you are watching this for the first time in this order. Luke and Leia are separated to hide their presence from the Emperor. The newly formed Empire now reigns unchecked and unchallenged. Next, Return of the Jedi, 1983. We are returning to the original trilogy. This is the final film in the original trilogy. This is where the two stories collide. The two perspectives finally converge here. Luke and Leia's story and Vader's story. The Emperor makes his cinematic debut if you're watching in release order. At the time, there wasn't much to invest in him because this is our very first real appearance of Ian McDiarmid as the Emperor. However, if you watch in this order, he's a crucial pillar to this story, whose presence has been looming the whole time. Our time away from Luke helps us to understand how strong he's become since we've last seen him. He's changed quite a lot, even built a new lightsaber. And with Anakin's backstory, we can see that Luke is wandering into a similar path. Leia is becoming quite the beacon of hope that the rebellion will later look to in the sequels. All eyes at this point, though, are on Luke and Vader. Luke has accepted what we've come to know in the prequels. What we saw with our own eyes, Luke clings on to with faith. There is still good in him. Padme's presence is brought to life in this trilogy through those words, if you're watching in this watch order. The Emperor tries to seduce Luke in the same way that he seduced Anakin, in a venue that's similar to Anakin's final duel with Count Dooku. The parallels between Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi are easily discernible now. Luke appears to be giving in to hate until he defeats his father and looks upon his cybernetic arm, noticing what we see. He's following Vader's path. It appears that Sidious is handing Luke the same choice as he handed Anakin right before he murdered Count Dooku. Luke is finally on the same page with the audience, and now it's time to make his choice. And he stands to protect his father and declares himself a Jedi, just like his father before him. Vader saves Luke from the Emperor's attack and is brought to redemption. Luke looks into his father's eyes for the first time and stays with him as he passes away. As Luke and Leia celebrate the rebellion's victory, the Force ghosts of Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Anakin arrive, smiling at the children of Anakin Skywalker. Anakin has fulfilled the prophecy. He has brought balance to the Force. Though redemption is accomplished in the end for Anakin, there's still an important story that Star Wars must tell. We've seen how strong a blood relation is when it comes to love. The love Vader had for Luke and Leia was the string that tethered Anakin to reality. Without that bond, that piece of Anakin would have been lost forever, a long time ago. But what about choice? What about the family that you choose? Is that choice a heavy enough light to orbit around? The final three movies of the saga, the sequels, answer this question beautifully. Family is more than a blood bond, it is also a choice. As I said earlier, any watch order that you choose to watch these films in, completely valid. These are all great films, and you can enjoy them in any order that you want. Whether you prefer release order, chronological order, or this popular version that I outlined above, we can all come to learn that no family is perfect. We may have those in our family we love dearly. Some, not so dearly. Some may hold the whole family unit together, while some wander off path. Others may come to know that love through adoption. Regardless of what your family looks like, there should always be space for hope, love, and redemption in your family. Join me next time as we break down the family that you choose. Does Rey have the right to call herself a Skywalker? I hope you've enjoyed this video. It would mean a lot if you liked this video and subscribed below. I love making these videos and I hope to continue making more. May the Force be with you.